So I'll record this session, I'll post it, and I'll share that out with you after this evening when I get it loaded, when I get it back, when I post it. Okay, so I'm in your Google Classroom. And that is where we are going to be working from, much like you did with Carrie this morning. And so you are, I was in checking things out. And so I did add a comment on the stream, and I said, good afternoon, share one thing that you are excited about from this morning. And so that is one of those things that I really encourage you to pop in and add a class comment. When we're using the stream, that is one of the ways that we can build that relationship with our students and develop those conversations. And so can everybody get to your classroom? Awesome. Carol, you're learning. That's cool. And so one of the things when you're setting up your Google Classroom is you can control who posts on the stream. Did Carrie get that far this morning? You can chat me in the chat. Oh, excellent, Carrie. The Google Doc, setting up a way to communicate with my families. Yes, I love that. This is such a great way to communicate with your families. Better understanding what we can do with Google. Yes, cool. Oh, I'm so excited. So Carrie and I did compare notes a little bit, but I do want to make sure I'm not duplicating where we're at. So did she get through the settings and topics and everything in Google Classroom with you guys? And you can unmute and talk to me, or you can chat it, or you can drop it in the stream.
I think she got through all the settings in Google Classroom, yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so you went through the setting, the gear in the upper right-hand corner, and talked about how you can change what posts on the stream, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Yes, that is true. We got through that.
Good. Okay, wonderful. I mean, it just makes life so much better when you've seen that. Those are those kinds of things that when I'd never really played around with it before. You know, I set up a Google Classroom and I go, and then I was like, oh, this is really annoying to me, you know, like the classwork notifications on the stream. And then it's like, oh, I can turn that off. That's pretty exciting. So it's good to know that. Jim, you think Google Slides are awesome? Cool. So I'm going to pop over to our classwork real quick. And we're going to look at some of the activities that you did. And one of the nice things that I love about being able to do this in Google Classroom is we are able to collaborate, and you're also able to see what it looks like from the student side. And so Carrie assigned, shared with you project materials. She gave you a question. You guys did a website assignment. You did a quiz. And I don't know what this is. Oh, this is your rubric. Okay. So you have a rubric. And then so the last thing that I'll do with you guys is we'll look at how when we make an assignment, we can do a collaborative assignment. Because one of the things that I'm going to work with you on this afternoon is utilizing the different ways that we can do the instruction, how we can set up our classroom, those types of things. And so I will work with you on that. So we're going to make one more assignment for you guys, and I'm going to call it our Everybody Gets Their Own. So this is a push out assignment, and so we're going to do a Google Slides scavenger hunt. And so follow the instructions on the slide and complete the scavenger hunt. When you are done, please turn in your work through Google Classroom. Okay, so I'm going to add a document, and it is a slide. Let's see. And so I can go in and I can add any number of Google Slides or any number of documents to an assignment. And the nice thing here, when I make the assignment, is we can talk about how the students can interact with the file. And so if I share it out so that you can view it, it's going to be informational. You can only see the information on the slide. I could send it out so you can edit it, but what happens is you are all editing the same file. And then finally, I can make a copy for each student. And I'm going to do that because this scavenger hunt guides you through all the different ways that you can edit and modify slides. And I love it as a not only great example to help you make sure you can use Google Slides efficiently, but it's also something you can use with your kids. And so this is one of those file it away forever kind of things. So make a copy for each student. And now I'm going to pop over here and look at my, I do not have a grading category selected. And so I'm going to call this homework, but I'm going to make it well, no, I'll make it points. And so we'll say it's 100 points. I'm not going to give it a due date. But I do want to put it under a topic, and I'm going to drop it up under Thursday, August 13th. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assign it. And you're going to notice that I only have one classroom in my Google Classroom, but if I had more, I could assign this across all the classes. I can also pick students. If I only wanted to assign it to a certain number of students, I could do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Assign. And you guys are going to each get your own copy. I'm so excited. All right, so we're back on our classwork. And this is one of the fun things that I like. Did Carrie talk about Skinny Snowman or the 3 dots this morning? The 3 dots, whenever you find 3 dots, click them because you're going to be able to do some cool things. So I'm clicking on the 3 dots and I can copy the link here. And so I'm going to copy the link to this assignment and I'm going to say, we are doing the scavenger hunt. In Google Classroom, and I can paste that link in. And so now if I need to direct your attention to that, I can use that. So if I've made my own website, Carrie said you guys all have a Google Sites. If I've made my own website, I could use this. I can copy the link of a posted assignment or a published assignment and paste it into my website. I pasted it in the chat just now. So you have some options for sharing your assignments. Who can access these assignments? Only the students that are in your Google Classroom. And so if you are not in the Google Classroom and you click on the assignment, it's going to either prompt you to log into Google Classroom, or if you are logged in, it'll show you your classes and that's it. So I'll give you guys just a couple seconds here to hop into this slide deck. And so I'm going to pop on over and see. So how we're going to get there is we're going to navigate to our classwork in Google Classroom and click on Google Slides Scavenger Hunt, and then you can click on the scavenger hunt. The other thing you can do is in our chat, I've pasted the link to the chat or link to the assignment there too. So are you guys able to get to the slides? Would somebody like to share their screen so we can kind of navigate through together on what it looks like from the student side? Are you guys with me?
Yeah, I don't know that any of us have the Zoom up on the computer we're actually working on. I think we all have extra computers going.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine.
So, I know I am currently formatting my colors.
Okay.
Could you give us the class code?
Of
We have
course.
someone that just joined us this afternoon.
Yes. So I will drop the class code in the chat. And then I'm also going to share it on the screen right now so you can see that. So there's the class code, okay?
And then I could try to share my assignment screen.
Okay, not a problem. Yeah, that would be awesome if you would do that, because it'd be great if we could kind of roll through this together a little bit. So I will stop sharing my screen and you can go ahead and share yours. Thanks, Nadine.
She just, what part do you want me to share? View assignment
Go
or
ahead
the
and
actual
just
scavenger hunt?
go ahead and share your whole screen so that we can ping pong back and forth to the assignment and the scavenger hunt, okay?
I'm just warning you, I have about 40 windows open. I'll try to find it.
I hear ya. I have a lot of windows open too. I get picked about it a lot. Wonderful. Okay, so you are in your Google Classroom, and this is what your assignment looks like from the student side. And what I love about this is you see at the bottom is the class comments, and so this could be where you could ask a question. So if you need help, you could ask a class comment, and everybody in your class can see that. You'll see that you have your work, which are the slides, and I'll have you click on those in a second, Dr. Eastman. But before that, or below that, you have private comments, and that's where you can send a note to just your teacher. And so the private comments only go to the teacher of the class, and so they don't, your classmates can't see that. The other thing, did I teach elementary? I'm a librarian. I've done K-12. Um, so the other thing that we could do is your work. When Dr. Eastman clicks on the slides under her work, that is her file. And so she can open that up. That will be her file that only she can edit and she will see. And when she submits it, it is also her file, and so the other students aren't going to be able to see her work, and so I that is a nice feature. Okay, and so now you can go through. I'll give you a few more minutes to play around with this PowerPoint is such a good, or this slides is such a good example of ways that we can go through and encourage our learners to not only follow directions, but also become familiar with the tools. And so Google Slides is one of the resources that I would really encourage you to utilize often. So questions?
I have a question.
So what happens when we get the feedback is a number of you guys are in the same room with your sound connected. And so you can click on the caret beside your microphone and leave computer audio. So some of you may need to leave computer audio if you're all in the same room.
I have it muted. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
So can I share my screen?
Of course.
I want to share my, so, oops, there it is. Okay, so so I have a question. So when I do, how come I mean, I have my custom colors. I found all of them for each one, but how do you make it color?
And so you're going to want to fill them. And so if you are at the top where you've selected your smiley face right now, and you see the bucket. Do you see the bucket? That's your highlight. So right there,
Okay.
yep. And now there.
Okay.
So cool.
Got it. Okay, cool. Got it.
Cool. Yes. Well, I'm glad you shared that because that is, and one of the things, so I'll let you hang out for a second and we can talk off your screen. And so one of the things that's really great about using Google Slides is
Go to format options.
We can do, and actually you do not need to do the format options. You can close that. Oh, that's okay. I mean, that's one way, but with across the top of the screen, you see the fill color. So once you've dropped in a shape and you've selected that shape, you get the fill color option. If you click away, so go ahead and click just on the white space on your slide. There you go. Now you do not see the fill color option anywhere, but if you click on your cloud or your smiley face, the fill comes back. And so that's how you can fill color. The next control next to that, the pencil, when you're selected something, that is your border. And so you can, so James, have you selected one of your images? You have to click on one of your images to make sure you can see the bucket.
I'm good now. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm happy. I could watch you guys create Google Slides all day long. So these are those kinds of activities that not only will help your learners be able to be more responsive when you ask them to do things, because they're going to feel more comfortable with the resources. So I'll give you guys just a couple more minutes to go through that collaborative, those slides, the scavenger hunt, just so you have an opportunity to check that out. Oh, question? Another question?
She muted me. Nope, she didn't.
I just muted you. Do you have another question?
No, no other question. I was just looking for my mute.
Gotcha. Okay, we do have a question about where is the Explore tool? And so let's see, do you know which slide you're on right now? So I know which slide you're on. You're on this slide. So let me show you the Explore tool. So when you are in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see the cute little Explore tool. And then when I click on that, it pops up a window on the right-hand side that I can now go through and search, and it'll search my documents. It'll search the web. So that's where the Explore tool is. When we run through the search, you'll see that it brings up not only the web information, it also will bring up images, and then it also searches my drive. And so if I want to insert a photo, I can drag, whoops, I didn't mean to click on that. I can insert the image, and it dropped it in over here, so I can place it in my square if I want. I can also do a couple of other things with my image, and so that's how you can drag and drop in those images. Show off people's work. From the teacher side, one of the really powerful things is we can work collaboratively with our students. And so you guys are all in my class, and I can see you all, and I can, because I assigned this out, every one of you has your own document. I can click on any one of you. So Nadine, may I pick on you?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. And so I'm going to go in and look at her work. All right. And so I can do a couple of different things. I can pop out the student work to view it as a full Google Doc if I would like. I also have a comment bank. And so this is one of the really great things that I have going on here is, as I can go through, I can see where you are. So you've done this slide, and oh look, I can actually see you on slide 9, and you're working on it. And so I might want to add a comment to you that says, great work so far. Try Pixabay, but it might be blocked in school. I mean, and so, I mean, I can add, I can say, you know, you might need to improve your theme, you might need to do this, but so I can actually provide feedback while we're working okay? And so I can see all, especially when I assign the slides to everybody, I can see everything. The other thing that's really powerful here is you notice they mentioned the comment bank. And so the comment bank allows us to, I can add a comment to the comment bank. And so I can say, great work, love the colors. Because this will be something that I'll probably use a lot as I'm going through. And so now on slide 9, when I click on comment bank, when I start typing my comment, I can say great, and you'll notice it will pull up the words already. And so this is one of those things where I'm like, if I have to repeat myself so many times that I not do my instructions very well. And so I've got that, but also, you know, some of this feedback you can file it away. And so you can put your feedback in your comment bank. And now I can come back to that again and again. Nadine has not turned this in, so I can't return it. But the other really nice thing here is, so she asked me a question, and so I can say, so we can go in and I can respond. So only that conversation is between her and I. Nobody else in the class can see it. So these are really powerful things when we're looking at how to work with our students in Google Classroom. And so I'm going to go back to my assignment. Thank you for letting me share your screen, or letting me share your work. And now, oh good, I'm so proud of you guys. I have people that have turned in their work. And so this is awesome. And so admin, may I pick on you?
Yep, go ahead.
Thanks. All right, so admin has turned in her work. And so at this point, I can go through and I can review. I will add my comment that I've written in, just because. So I can copy it from here if I want, or I can start typing and it'll go. And now I can, and then I see that there's another slide attached too. And so here is just a blank slide that was attached to this file, which is fine. I mean, that's perfectly fine. Did you just practice making a file?
That was a mistake, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I mean, I'm really glad that you have this, because it shows that you
Right.
can attach multiple files to an assignment, and so it isn't necessarily a one and done type situation. And so no, I
And
just wasn't sure what you were thinking. So that was
no,
why.
here's what I was thinking. So I got out of my slide, and then I went to turn it in, and I thought I had to attach my slide, but it actually saved so everything that you guys have done to your slide is already saved right there within the assignment. So you don't have to attach the slide.
Exactly.
It's already there.
It's
You just
already
have to
there.
turn it in. So yeah,
Yes.
that's what that was.
Good. Well, I'm glad. I mean, I'm I'm glad we had that, because that is one of the things, when you make a copy for every student, then it gives you that opportunity to provide the students with, the work is right there. I also really like to say create, and so what you ended up doing was you added a slides, which is fine. And the nice thing there is you'll notice that it actually appended your name to it too. And so that's another cool thing, is if you create in your assignment, it will append your name to the name of the file. And so I appreciate that, just because names, keeping track of things. So I've commented on your file. I'm also going to give you a grade. Great work. I can add a private comment. and send that. But I can also, I mean, that's something we could do throughout. I'm going to return your work. And you're going to see that if I click on the drop down, I can return just yours, or I can go back and return multiple if I wanted to. And I'm just going to return yours right now. Something else you're going to notice that when you turn in an assignment, okay, yep, there you go. You can no longer edit that assignment. And so until either your teacher returns it back to you or you click on unsubmit. And so let's see. How come it doesn't tell me that I returned it? Okay, it's gone now. So when I'm looking at all my files and their status, you see I have 8 that are turned in, 29 that are assigned, and 1 that is graded. And so one other thing, and so I know you guys don't all have the computer. So Nadine, would you turn yours in and then share your screen with us, please? And I won't judge you if you're not done with the work.
What did you want me to share?
Share your screen. So go ahead and share the, we want to look at your assignment. You've turned it in, so I want people to see what it looks like when you turned it in. But then I also want to show how you can unsubmit the assignment if you need to edit it again. So, and I need a student side to see that. All right, awesome. So go ahead and click on your slides, okay? And you're going to see that they are view only, all right? So you can still see them, but you can no longer make any edits to them because you've submitted them. If you go back to your Google Classroom, there is that unsubmit option. And so if you're like, oh no, I forgot to fill out the last slide, or something like that, you can unsubmit your work and then you can edit it again. As a teacher, I can see what you've done, and so I can see that you've submitted and unsubmitted your work. But it gives you that flexibility. Once I grade your work, you are able to edit it again, and so it comes back and you can, it is now your file. So thank you for sharing your screen. I appreciate that. It is nice to be able to see what it looks like from the student side, and so what they're going to be seeing. So awesome. So I've got about 10, 11 of the slides are turned in. I'll let you guys, so we're going to move on, and I'm going to continue on with some of the other structures. So part of what we're working through now is we're going to look at this create your Google Classroom. I know Carrie this morning went through making the assignments and all the settings and everything like that. I want to talk a little bit about your organization and that structure. And so when you are in, so you're going to want to go back to your assignments and go to assignment 001. For the create a Google Classroom. And when we're in that create a Google Classroom assignment, there's a number of different activities that are linked there and resources. And so I will talk through some of these, but I'm going to give you a little bit of time to explore them also. And so one of the things is your how to organize assignments. And so we have from Casey Bell, she gave us this how to organize assignments. And this is one of the things that will really help you as you start to go through this year using Google Classroom. And so when we make assignments, you have topics, and you're going to see that you can create and organize topics on your page. So one of the things when you look at our assignment page, our classwork page, you will see that we have a today, basically. So we have the date, and those are kind of like sample things that we've dropped out there for you. And then we have topics. So we have getting started with Google Classroom. And then there's a whole bunch of assignments in getting started with Google Classroom. Carrie's going to work with you tomorrow on planning for blended learning. And I'm actually working with you right now, and you don't have this structure because it's, yeah. But so you have all of the different things are there. I've also shared with you a whole bunch of content resources for what does Google Classroom look like in your content area. And so when I work with schools, a lot of the times what I hear is, how do, you know, what does this look like for PE? What does this look like for special ed, music, STEM, math, all of that? And so there are resources here for many content areas. I'm still working on counseling, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm working on right now. But so those are the subject headings that we've put together, or our topics that we've put together for this class. You'll notice that whenever you click on any one of the topics on the left-hand side of the page, it's going to bring up um, all of the assignments under that topic. And so you can see those. You can drag and drop your topics around, and so that's really awesome. If I want to move topics, I can drag them around on the page. And also, if I forget to assign a topic to something, I can drag and drop an assignment to where I want it to go on the page. So topics are really going to help you with your organization, but you also want to think about how you want to use them. So I'm going to pop back over into Casey Bell's resources. So she models here how you can rearrange topics, and she gives us a topic of today, classroom materials, and bell ringers. As I scroll on down the page, she gives us 6 different ways to organize your assignments. One is by your units or modules, and so this is awesome if this is how you typically teach your instruction. You can just say unit 1, unit 2, etc. I am going to tell you that once you publish something in Google Classroom, you cannot unpublish it. And so you can't, assignments never quote unquote go away. They are just there. And if you delete them, it deletes the assignment and the grade in your grade book and everything like that. And so that is one of my, how do you manage that is why we talk about your topics and how you can manage that. So if you're going to do something like this, you may want to have the most recent unit always at the top. So that your students know that at the top of my classwork is my most recent unit. You can organize by week. And so this is you can just drop a week in. And so every week you have a new topic. You can also organize by type of assignment. And so this would be more of, we could say these are our bell ringers, these are our daily work, these are our classroom materials. For the elementary peeps, one of the ways that a lot of teachers will organize is by content area. And so they'll say language arts, math, science, social studies, and list their assignments in those. Another thing you can do is just add the today topic. And so this could be where, if we look at our assignments and our structure that we have for this class, So we have today's date. I mean, we could call that today. And then all of these really fall under getting started with Google Classroom. And so tomorrow when Carrie comes, we could move all these down and have them under getting started with Google Classroom. So you have some different options there for rearranging your content and rearranging your topics. The other thing you can do is she mentions organizing by learning target. And so, coming up with a numbering and a letter scheme to use your learning target. One of the things that I really want to point out is how you package your assignments. And so give each assignment a dedicated number. And so you're going to notice that Carrie has modeled that really well when we set up the classroom here for the getting started. When we've done these little demo assignments, we really haven't modeled them like that. It is a lot easier to tell your students we're working on assignment 001 than it is to say we're on a quiz. And so using a numbering scheme and not repeating it throughout the year can be very powerful. You'll notice with the content that I used a very similar process, but I started at 20 just because I didn't want I didn't want to overlap, and I kind of wanted to keep everything together. It's also easier for your students when you're looking for files. You can say, we're looking for #001. So she talks about the dedicated number. The other thing when I'm making my assignments is I really do try to utilize a consistent format. And it's hard. I mean, it's like sometimes I'm in a hurry and you don't do it as well as you would like. But I try to do the creating your Google Classroom. So I've given you steps. This is what you're going to do in this assignment. This is how you turn it in. I'm almost always explain how to turn in the work, because when you do not attach an assignment, when you do not attach a file, you have a mark as done option to tell me that you're done. When we did our slide that each one of you had a copy, you had a turn in option. And so I really try to be very clear when I'm giving those instructions. You can add as many documents or resources here as you want. You can add in videos. I am finding it is much easier to put all of my resources in a document and share it out as a document with everything in one spot than it is to continue to add links. But that's completely up to you. But you can have as many things in here as you want. And so you could say, watch this video, read this assignment, and then fill out the worksheet and turn it in. So you can really, you can put more than one file there. She talks about using student-friendly learning goals, explaining how it will be assessed and including the rubric. And so because we have the rubric option now, that just came out in January for everybody. That is a really great way for providing that assessment. Provide how much class time. Include the due date and time. So when we do these classes, we typically do not have due dates and times on them, because you guys are adults, and it's not something that we don't want to give you guys any more undue stress than you currently have. But one thing I would recommend when we're working with students is to give them the date and the time, and it's going to default to midnight, but you can change it. You can say 4:00 p.m. You can make it kind of whatever. But by doing that date and that time, it will help them. Actually, I'll make this. So I'm going to give this to you with a date and a time, okay? Yes, I'll still save it. That's fine. So that you can see how it shows up on your stream and how it shows up as a reminder and everything for doing the work. So this is more of a example. It's not really due tomorrow at 4. don't worry, please. But so that date and that time is really important versus just the date. If you're going to have collaboration, make sure you put those guidelines in there. Like I said, explain the turn it in process, explain what to do if they finish early, and then you can include all attachments and links. So I do appreciate that she kind of gives us like everything we need to put in an assignment. So this morning, when Carrie talked to you guys about the settings in Google Classroom, you can disable the classwork on stream, hide those notifications. Truly, it makes for such a much cleaner stream and much less disruption for your students. And then this is one of the things that our teachers, the assignments don't disappear, so how can you manage that? So she says, you know, creating a topic called past assignments, have it be at the bottom. Once the assignment is complete and or you're no longer accepting work, move it to that topic. And so she acknowledges you're giving up some organizational structure, but you know, we have to kind of do what works for us. So that is, you know, some of the topic ideas as you're thinking about when you create your classroom and how to organize that content. Another one of the resources that is really great is Ditch That Textbook. And he also goes through and talks about ways to organize your classroom and ways to organize your classroom topics. And his site has been having moments all week, so we'll see if I can get there. Oh, yay! Take two. So he provides us with some ideas as you're going by week, by unit, and I like that he shows us, you know, the different types of what it can look like. You can sort by subject, by file type. And so this is one of those resources too that as you're thinking about organizing, I would definitely do that. And so one of the things that you do in this assignment is we do a collaborative Google Slides. And so each of you is invited to grab a slide, type your name in, that is your slide, insert a screenshot of your Google Classroom, and then note the description of your class, how you plan to organize it, what lesson numbering system, questions, and what you're excited about. So what's nice about this is a collaborative document. Each of us is in the same document, and we're working. We can all see everybody's responses. And so it'll be fun to be able to say, oh, I love your header. How did you do that? Or, oh, tell me more about how you're organizing your topics. So this is one of those things that when we create our classes, and so I do, I'm going to go back to my home screen here and talk. One of the things that I would really recommend is especially if you're teaching middle school, high school, or a special where you have multiple sections of the same class or same type of class, I would recommend going in and creating your class. You can add in a section, subject, room, but create your class and then go through and create your topics, do your settings. So I want my settings to be, I don't want classwork on the stream. I want my grading system set up, all my grading topics and my default points. Set all that up for one class. So I'm going to save this. Now what I can do, I can go to my classwork, I can go to make topics, and so I'm going to say my topics this year are going to be homework, today, and past assignments. And so I'm keeping it pretty simple for my class this year. And so once I create those, I can organize them the way I want. So this is how I want it. Once I have all that done, then I would copy my demo class or my base class. I would click on the 3 dots, I would copy that, and then your grading structure will be set up, your topics will be set up, and everything will be there for you to, as you go through and start to populate your classes. Some people are like, well, why wouldn't I want to put all of my assignments in and then duplicate it? It gets to be a little unwieldy on your part. So you can see here that we've got a number of assignments in here. We've got a number of drafts in here. It is a lot easier if you can just say, I'm going to reuse a topic or post. And in this situation, I can only reuse from my current class because I don't have, I mean, there's nothing in the demo class. But if I'm looking through here, I can reuse a post. I can assign out to all of my classes very easily. And so I would really, I thought I was going to be brilliant one day, and I copied one of my previous classes. And what happens is if there's stuff you're not going to use, there's no blanket delete. You have to click on your 3 dots and delete each assignment one by one that you don't want. And so it's easier to create your topics, your grading structure, all that, and then copy, and then populate your assignments and utilize the reuse feature. So does that make sense?
We thought you were frozen.
No, I'm not frozen. Um, yes, so all of the resources that we are sharing right now well, I can't even talk. They are in your Google Classroom. And so this is in your Google Classroom, and we're working through this creating your classroom right now, assignment 001. So in the chat, I will copy and paste the link for that, okay? So that you can click on that, and as long as you're logged into Google Classroom, you will be able to get to this assignment, okay? Some of the other resources that we have here are the Google Classroom. Google has done a really nice job of providing us some resources. These are things if you get stuck or you're like, wait, I don't remember what she said. These first day are wonderful because they guide you through that, basics and how to do all sorts of things in your Google Classroom. So the first day resources are great. And then you also have the Google Classroom workflow. And this is, so you guys would log in with your organizational account. But this goes through and gives you all the steps for the first time you create a class and everything as you go through. And so this is another one of those resources that you have to be able to take away and use in the future. And then finally, we have our 001 slides assignment. Oh, cool. So I see Big Jim has already started filling it out. Good job. And so this is where, and I encourage you to do this partially to, practice your Google but also you're going to be creating your Google Classroom anyways, and thinking about the topics and the numbering system, etc., will really save you time in the future. So that's one of those things we do now to save us time in the future. Okay, so don't want to run out of time. I have a lot of things I want to talk to you guys about, but I also want to give you a little bit of time. So I want to give you a little time to absorb this. So I'm just going to give you about 10 minutes to go through and create your classroom and look at your topics, and then also think about how you want to number and do that 001 slide assignment. I'll be here to answer any questions if you want to unmute or if you need to. One of the things that you can do is you can either be a co-teacher in the teachers, in the regular ed teacher's classroom, or you can create an individual classroom for each student. Many of the special ed teachers I work with, they don't necessarily do that for every student, but there are students where that is really appropriate, and a great way to organize not only their material, but the communication and resources and activities as they share it out. So just a couple of things, but I love this example, Courtney, and I thought that was really cool. Did you have a
Can I
question?
jump in here for a minute?
Yes, please.
So I want to say for our special education, that for their students that are remote learning, they will have their own individual Google Classroom.
Excellent. And that's just, like I said, many of the schools that I work with, you know, both ways. And so having their own individual Google Classroom will be excellent. But just know if you are a co-teacher in a class, you can make individual assignments that are only to a specific student. And so you don't have to assign to everybody. I was going to scroll on down. Oh, Courtney, I picked on you again. You guys are really funny. And a lot of you are still working on this. But yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to look through this. Mrs. Thuringer, you're organizing by day and then placing each subjects. That is going to, that'll be a great way to kind of keep everybody on a page, especially the today's. You may want to consider doing a today, and then moving things after today is over. But I'm excited. I like that. Structure. All right. So thanks, guys, for checking that out. The next thing that we're going to look at, and oh, excellent. I see I have a class comment. And this is the beautiful part of Google Classroom is we can go in and do those class comments. And so on assignments, this can be either, hey, I don't understand how to turn in my homework, and maybe one of the other students will comment back, or you can actually use it as a conversation starter. And so the class comments, remember, everybody sees. So thanks, Carrie. I'm glad that you shared all these ideas, or shared your ideas. So this assignment, so we'll move on to assignment 3. So I will drop the assignment link into the chat. So I clicked on my 3 dots, copied the link, and I'll drop that in the chat. Oops, yeah, okay. I didn't type right, but okay, you got it. So this assignment, when we go in and look at it, provides us with a number of resources for communicating Google Classroom with your students, and also how to help your students be successful. And so these are kind of those first day types of things. One of my favorite assignments is the Google Classroom, What Do Kids Do First? Because she goes through those sample assignments to talk about how to help our learners jump right in and use Google Classroom successfully. So you have about 6 different resources here, and so I'm going to just highlight them, and then I'll give you a couple minutes to explore. Um, Littles. Yes, littles can use Google Classroom. Christine Pinto provides us with some amazing resources, and she talks about how to help our littles log in successfully. The Student Quick Guide from Teacher Tech, and I think that's one of the ones you mentioned, Carrie, is one of the, I love this document because it gives us how to do everything. Not only are we joining Google Classroom, we are going to our classwork tab. You can find out your uncompleted work has a dark icon. And so this is awesome. If you guys go in and look at, like a lot of you have turned in the slides, you'll see that that is light, but your other work is going to be dark. You can click on View Assignment. You have your work bubble, this Add or Create. Clicking on an attachment title to attached title to edit it. You can either mark as done or turn in, and then you can view your work. And so this, she gives us the link to this graphic. It is in Google Drawings, and so you can actually modify this. You can file, make a copy, and modify it if it's something that you want to use or change a little for you or whatever. So love this resource as a getting started and how to communicate with our learners. She also provides us with a start guide. And then as long as we're staying in the same author, she does What Do Kids Do First? And so this is having them post on the stream. And so, you talk a little bit about digital citizenship and what is appropriate and how do we communicate? Because this is going to be where we're at for many situations. Use the ask a question. I see that Carrie used that this morning where you did a multiple choice. You can also do like a paragraph. And so you have options to have those questions. And then she has us create an assignment, and I love it because you are doing a really simple, she gives you all of the instructions that you can copy and paste. Click on open, click on create a Google text, Google text doc, brainstorm, and so she gives you those words that you can use. And then as we keep on scrolling, this is going to look a little different because this was created back in 2015 and Google has since updated what their page looks like. But when we're looking at the work bubble, that is where you can create. So yes, so these are things that you can use to kind of help introduce it to your kids and also as you're moving forward. Couple more resources. There is a couple more another little kid resource, and then this parent's guide to Google Classroom. These are slides, and I think they are everywhere on the internet because if you look for a parent's guide to Google Classroom, you find this about 500 times, which is awesome. So you can go in and make a copy because this is also view only, but you can make a copy and then you can edit this, and so you can make it be something that is relevant to your students, what's important for your students to know. There's a questions down here. There is a logging in somewhere. where you can put the, like here we are, like see here we have student ID at newdistrict.org. You guys would be student ID or at, you know, whatever at your domain. So you can take this and use it, and this might be something that one of you wants to modify and share out, and so everybody uses the same thing and it's posted on your website. So those are all ideas that you can utilize to take. So they're there for you to run with. So that is the routines and instructions, and those are those things that, well, some of it is part of the structures of your class. The other part is, you know, that how can we successfully launch this year? So any questions on that? Okay. So the next thing we're going to look at is the content, because one of the things that is really stressful as we're moving online is how do we organize our specific content? And so when we go in and look, science, I don't have you done yet, but there's some great resources in ELA. We can go in and look at the resources for our content area. I'm going to copy the link to this topic and drop it in the chat, because then you guys can get to that topic. And so here's the content topic link. And we'll hit the ground running. And so when you go into any one of these, they are going to be organized very similarly. So PE and Google Classroom, they are all a Wakelet. And so once you click in, you're going to find suggestions and resources for teaching your content area online. And so here I've got, you know, ways to use Google Classroom in the in physical education. So I have a number of ideas here. And then we start jumping down to, like, this is from the Colorado Department of Education. They have an amazing collection of resources for teaching physical education online. So that is your PE. Special education, so it sounds like you guys are going to have your individual classes, which is one of the ways that many teachers do this. But you also have some ideas for using Google Classroom, and this is for speech language paths, but she gives a lot of good ideas there. Music. Music is always, trying to teach it online can be really challenging. And so you have a lot of resources here for what can it look like in Google Classroom. And so we have resources for the music classroom right here in Google Classroom. Art is also going to fall under the fine arts, and so you can see what that looks like. The STEM CTE, this is always hard because we're trying to do a really hands-on work in a virtual environment. The CTE Wakelet especially has some really cool interactives that actually cross content areas. So if you scroll on down, and I'm gonna have to move it to the top because I think it's so much fun. These learning objects from Wisconsin Online, great for science, great for everything. I can go here and look for arts and humanities. I can do career clusters, computer science, math. So if I want to look at algebra and see, I have these different learning objects that I can now click on. And so factoring, everybody likes to factor. And so now I have an interactive activity that I can go through and follow the, so here it asks me to click on all the numbers that are not perfect squares. So we can go through and play that or do that interactive activity. So the CTE resources has some really great resources for teaching those types of classes in an online environment. Math is another one that's just hard because we're usually so hands-on, and how do you do it? And so we've got a ton of resources here that you can use with your Google Classroom. I love this Teaching Math with Google Classroom, interactive math for the Google Classroom, and using Google Classroom for math. There's also this really awesome Empower Your Math Classroom with Google, and it gives lots of different ideas for utilizing Google Slides, Docs, and everything to teach math. The library, which is my favorite place. What can that look like? This is another one where you may have your own classroom, but you also may have some resources. You may also be a co-teacher in with your grade level classrooms. So lots of different examples of how you can structure your time in the library. World language is another really fun one, so lots of ideas for world language, and then also ELA. And ELA, one of the things with ELA is trying to make sure we have enough content. And so like Open eBooks is a really great resource. The No Red Ink and Grammarly. NCTE provides a lot of ideas, and then Newsela is another tool that you can use. So those are just some ideas for content. And while each of you are going to have a different content area that'll be more relevant, this can kind of help you see how other teachers have structured that, and also resources to use as you move forward. So questions, comments, concerns, before I give you a little time to look at the content. Will you need to check with Rebecca before you post a site to ensure it's on the up and up? I guess.
I mean, like, are you guys talking about your Google sites that should be creating for your classroom? Or are you talking about the safety of a site? Because
Yeah.
if it's,
So in there, when we go to her content, it's like some people's specific sites. But like
These
if
are.
I was doing that, I'd be like,
Go
for
ahead.
example, in the math one, like it was some guy, Dr. Rose. But what if Dr. Rose doesn't want me using his site? Like, is it all fair?
So all of these resources, is it this one here that you're looking at?
I mean, they wouldn't have shared it, Jim, if they didn't want you using it.
So
Okay.
that and many of these have been shared. I mean, they're not necessarily shared. Like, I wouldn't share this with my students, but I would read it to say, okay, look, there's the Google Docs editor, here's the Desmos graphing calculator. Many of these resources have samples of how teachers are using Google Classroom in their specific content area and or resources like that. So that's why I shared them, is because many of the questions that I get are, how does this look? How can I teach math online? And so that's why. And so like this Empower was a presentation at a conference. And if we go through this, you'll see actual examples of how we can use Google Drawings and how we can for different things. And so she uses a lot of Google Drawings. And provides you with resources that you can use. Just because we don't have the time to be able to sit down, I can't sit down with the math and just do math, which I would love to sit down and just do math. But so this way I tried to give you some examples. So that's a great question though. And then the sites are blocked. Janine says sites are blocked.
So if
Chino-
you want specific sites unblocked, that you have to let me know. If it's, I mean, if they're blocked, you know, the filter's just feeling like it's not completely secure. But if it is, we can unblock it, but you have to give me the complete URL.
Okay, well, what we're finding here, Rebecca, is that all the PE ones are blocked. What other ones are blocked? Math? All the content ones are blocked as teachers are trying to get in and look at them.
Is it the Wakelet that's blocked? Can you get to the resources? Can you get to the Wakelet, or are you stuck at, or can you get into the Wakelet and then you can't get any further?
They're telling me, the people in my room are telling me the Wakelet's what's blocked. Wakelet.com, is that what you had up?
Yep. Can you unblock that, Rebecca? As a
I'm working.
blanket?
Yep,
Okay. I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know if you needed me to send you something. That was more of my question.
I'm in the process.
Oh, okay. It's so fun to be a tech person these days, especially right now. Well, thanks guys for letting us know that they are blocked so that we can get in and we can get in and get those fixed.